When you think of Tracey Gaudry, you probably think of UCI Vice President or maybe CEO of the Amy Gillett Foundation, but she's a former Australian road champion. She won the time trial title twice, and clearly she drinks a lot of coffee. We're at Cafe Loco in Middle Park. It's normally closed on a Monday, but Tracey said she wanted to come down for a coffee, so they've opened up and we're going to wait for it to arrive after a bunch ride. How are you? Likewise. Now I thought Mark Philippoussis travelled with an entourage. Tracey, this is ridiculous. And I see you know at the front. Tracey, the Cafe Loco is on Armstrong Street. Do you see the irony as the UCI Vice President?
Well, no matter where you are in the system, there are some things you just can't control.
Well, one thing you couldn't control was the fact that you had leukemia, and it was that got you into cycling. Take us back to that time in your life.
Well, think about yourself as a 20-year-old, uni student, having the time of your life, pretending to study, earning a bit of keep to get yourself through to the next night's party. And thinking about the future, but not in too serious a way. And then all of a sudden, you hit with, you've only got 10% chance of being here this time next year. And, we'll give it a good shot, but we don't have a panacea. The starting point is 2 years of chemotherapy every day. And so at the age of 20, your life just changes just like that. At the time, family around me, great team of friends, and we just buckled down and just got stuck into it. I just treated it like a project. Okay, here we go, every day, pound of the day.
And you weren't a bike rider before that?
No, I actually wasn't an elite athlete before that. Had always had a lot of sporting potential, but it had never been a priority.
How'd you end up on the bike then?
Well, so we get the all clear.
Yeah.
My doctor is, he sees a young person and took a great interest in helping. I wasn't fit. I could hardly walk around the block. And we said, okay, it's time to have some fun. Okay, well, if it's fun, it's got to keep me healthy. It's got to be good for the head. There's got to be some mental stimulation in it, and it needs to be social as well. Something just to lighten and brighten up.
Bike riding ticks all those boxes.
So a friend from Geelong said, "Well, come on a bike ride." And I said, "Okay, how long?" He goes, 7 days long, 600k. I went, all right. When is it? Oh, it's in 2 months' time. So off we went.
Yeah. Wow. Extraordinary. And one of the people who inspired you was Kathy Watt, watching her in Barcelona. And then you got to race against her. What was it like the first time you got to race against the woman who inspired you to ride a bike?
Well, the month that Kathy Watt won the Olympic Games in '92 is the month that I ironically went on that bike ride. And I was on a borrowed bike with just sneakers and clip-ins, and came home, decided I was going to be a bike racer, rang up Donna Ray Zelensky, said, "Donna, will you coach me?" She said, "No, not yet. Go and do a few bike races first." Did a few bike races. "Donna, will you coach me?" "No, go and win a few bike races now."
Did that.
Bike races. "Donna, will you coach me?" "Okay." The first time I raced with Kathy was not against her, but it was in 1993 when there was still a team's time trial at the National Championships. And I was in the Victorian team, first ever National Championships with Kathy Watt, the Olympic gold medalist.
So it took you a year to make the state team to go to the Nationals.
Yeah.
So there's clearly an underlying reasonable amount of talent there.
Just a little bit, yeah. And so you can imagine as a young kid, first ever Nationals, the first ever race at the Nationals, it's the team's time trial and Kathy is your teammate. And all you're thinking about is, don't let the side down. We won a silver medal that year.
It's extraordinary. And then 95 you went to the Nationals and you finished third. You got the bronze medal.
Yes.
But Wikipedia gets confused because T. Gaudry won. But that was in the men's. Your husband, Tony Gaudry.
So Tony wins the road race. Liz Tadich wins the women's road race, and I win the time trial. So it was a bit of a trifecta. And that was also, ironically, the year that Tony and I met just a few months earlier. So it was one of those, quirky romance stories on the bike.
I thought you might have met at the podium at the Nationals.
No, we had met a few months before on the start line of a bike race.
You were in a men's race?
I was in a men's race, ironically called the Cow Pastures Race up in Camden.
Classy.
I don't design the race names. And, due to the wonderful training regime of Andrew Logan at the time, the women's team had just finished a 1,000-kilometre training week, as you do, 1 day off. And the next day was the cow pastures race, about 180-kilometre men's elite race, and we were on the front of the start line as the women's team, and next to me was Tracey Gaudry. So we had a chat, and we said, catch you later.
And you did.
And all I can say was I finished the race somewhere in the second or third group, and I'm not sure where Tony was.
And now you've got 3 kids together.
Now we have 3 kids together.
What a wonderful story.
Yeah, it is great.
What about that 99 Australian Road title? Take us through that win.
Well, it was an interesting year. I had a great start to the season. I'd had a year off in '97, come back in '98, and made the Commonwealth Games team. Finished 10th in the world in the time trial. So 1 year back on.
5th in the road race at the Commonwealth Games, or 5th in the time trial?
5th in the road race. Yes.
5th in the road race. Yeah.
And so a great comeback in the space of a year. '99. Got it right, had a great summer, with Wazza and the guys and the girls. Won the Tour de Snowy. We got Anna over the line. Podiumed in a World Cup in New Zealand. It was on song, and so it was the Nationals. We've got to win this. Started the build up for the Olympics. Ran 3rd in the time trial. Christy Scrimgeour won that year.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, all right. You've got your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
And my strongest opponent was Kathy Watt.
Still.
Yeah,
what a career she had.
So it was a tactical game. It was just tactics. It was a hilly course in Queensland. It was just about whittling down the bunch, getting into a breakaway with 2 or 3 riders. Kathy was one of them. Ended up being a duel between the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Kathy was historically the strongest sprinter. And I'd been climbing so well, the assumption was, well, she's not going to pack a punch. And it was a tactical cat and mouse game, and I remember coming across the bridge going, I think she's going to beat me.
What a great journey though, from the woman that inspired you to actually beat her to win that national road race.
Very special,
title.
and there's a healthy respect that Aussies have for each other about simply performing well and throwing everything into it. And that '99 year was a great year leading up to the Olympics in 2000.
So now, as the put your hat on as the vice president of the UCI, you're the only female on the committee. Do you feel a real sense of responsibility to women's cycling, in addition to cycling more broadly, but to women's cycling?
For someone who's always focused on simply doing your best at the time, putting everything into whatever your chosen pursuit is, whether it's work, family, sport. Doing my best a couple of years ago ended up being backed by Australia to become president of Oceania and therefore onto the UCI. It's a travesty that after 114 years, the first elected female has walked in the door of the UCI Management Committee. Let's be honest about it.
That's extraordinary.
That's not a responsibility that anyone wants to carry.
But someone has to.
Someone has to. So it's taken a while to acknowledge that as, one, a privilege, because we're changing culture, and 2, the immense responsibility. But the way I see it is, being a pioneer doesn't always mean staying a pioneer. And at the end of my term and during my term, the best outcome can be that the system embraces not just overtly, but through behaviour and attitudes, a greater sense of equity, and that women in the system say, hey, there's not just one spot there, let's have a go. In whatever their skills are, there is room for everybody. And so I hope that my involvement and motivation can inspire others to look inside themselves and see what they've got to offer and be part of that too.
Well, we've spoken about Kathy Watt and Anna Wilson, the greats of Australian cycling, but you were a teammate of Jeannie Longo.
Yes.
Arguably the greatest of all time in women's cycling.
An amazing year.
What was she like?
1999, the big year where everything happened.
Yeah.
And I was an Aussie kid going, well, how do we make this overseas? And James said, Jeannie wants you to come and ride with her. I went, oh, okay. First thing I did was negotiate a contract.
Yeah.
Challenges that women have today. We don't have managers managing our contract. So I was able to negotiate a fair and reasonable contract. That's not a bad thing. Okay.
Yeah.
This is
good
not
experience.
Too bad. Hard.
Yeah.
And we were very well cared for. Tough times. Jeannie was sometimes racing and sometimes not. So it was usually, you're the leader if I'm not racing, and if I am, I'm the leader. So that was an interesting dynamic. Yeah. But through that year, it was my best racing year. And I was racing in a French team. The team was called Le Bleu, which is a wheat product, and I'm a celiac.
And you're gluten intolerant. Perfect, great. So when you reflect on your career, what are you most proud of?
I'm personally most proud of is those early years of cycling being the panacea for a troubled time as a young person. Not a young person gone off the rails, but a young person whose life had changed forever, and cycling being something that I backed myself into when many people said, "You're nuts, you're going to be an elite cyclist, you can't just click your fingers." Proud of the fact that people believed in what I could do. Guys in the loco here, people that put me into cycling and trained me, taught me how to fall and get up again. What I'm now most proud of is that, the essence of cycling in the mid-90s, the coaches, the women, they're all still in the system. They're people that we talk about daily. They're people who are still making a contribution.
It's a great community.
It's great to be part of that. And after, a 20-year journey, to be able to be playing a significant role, yes, but have a great family where my children are, I'm looking at them going, what do you want to be in life? And we're trying not to push them into cycling because we put a bit of pressure on.
And they get enough exposure to it.
Yeah,
if they like it, they'll go.
They've got some good genes there.
Mum and Dad both Australian champions.
Yeah. So I'm proud of the fact that, we can actually manage to have a career in an area that you love. That people are part of the system, all trying to build the sport, and have a great family who I look at the next 10 or 15 years, and this is my one bike ride a week because the rest of the time's running around after that.
I love that you've got Wikipedia confused. It's got you down as a dual winner of the road race at the Nationals, 95 and 99, so you've poached Tony's. But the work that you're doing with the foundation and with the UCI, let's hope there are more women that follow in your footsteps. Thanks for your time, Tracey.
Thanks, Matt.